Trauma.
Gotcha. This thing falling off the... Oh, no, that's just a little loose. Okay, we're good. Hello, everyone. As we aforementioned last week, today we are talking about what, Tristan?
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the movie.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Electric Boogaloo. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Escape from New York. Oh, no, Lost in New York. Frick. I messed it up.
It could work. I mean, they're escaping.
Lost in...
Murder in New York.
I know the first game takes place in Utah.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
Yeah. As someone who's lived there, I could see it happening.
Yeah, kids would get murdered and stuffed into bodysuits there, would they?
Really, that makes no sense because Hurricane's not a city that would have a Chuck E. Cheese.
And Scott Cawthon just found it. He looked at a map.
Hurricane.
Yeah. Tiny town in southern. Yeah, it would work.
No, the first game was actually loosely based off of a true story.
Yeah.
Which is even more horrifying. I've watched many a few game theory videos.
As have I. However, it's been so long that like watching them again would be like watching them for the first time.
It wasn't a game theory because once MatPat, if any of you know that, once MatPat retired, anti-game theory.
I didn't become anti. I just kind of stopped watching them because even before he retired, the game theory videos were like the science, the game science ones with like the other guy.
I'd turn it on. I'd be like,
watch those.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh.
And it did not start off with "Hello, Internet," and I'd be like, well, why am I even here?
But we're not here to bash on that guy. I don't even know his name. That's bashing enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, we're here to talk about what you adults, by adults I mean people who are older than me, probably have no idea why this is such a hit phenomenon.
You definitely heard of it.
Why it
you would definitely
showed
seen
up
stuff about it, but like doesn't make any sense to you.
Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's really took the world by storm in
2014.
Yeah. It started off as an indie game. Probably don't know what that means either. It really just kind of started out as a game that had little to no funding, and it was made by a guy who had made bombs after bombs after bombs of video games and decided to just take all of his not assets,
just like his style
and make it a horror
way he
game.
Modeled characters.
Yeah.
And made it a horror game. A unique one.
Yeah, and it was just like a point and click. The best way that I can describe it for you older folk or for people who are unfamiliar, it's kind of like Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I was thinking.
It's a Nancy Drew game.
Just you're stuck in the same room the whole time.
Yeah. And instead of looking for clues, you're
fighting for your life.
Yeah, you're warding off evil animatronics from killing you.
They do get a bit quirky at night. Hello. Goodness. Every morsel, every inch of that first game is a meme. Every bit of it.
Yeah.
Which honestly, to kind of segue into the movie is both awesome and detrimental to the movies, because it almost feels like, at least to me, it almost felt like, every reference that you would hear.
Yeah.
They would either be references or Easter eggs to the games, or they were references to the memes.
Yeah. To quote the Falcon in Captain America Civil War, everyone's got a gimmick these days, right? I guess that, yeah, good segue into the movie. We're not going to talk much about the first one. Nor should we. That movie was kind of hot garbage. It was good, but this one in my mind was the second one, miles better.
Better tone.
I feel like they were able to tickle the itch that I had. Not tickle, scratch the itch. Whoa.
I've never heard that phrase before. Man, can you tickle my back?
I was gonna. I can't.
My favorite animatronic is Tickle Me Elmo.
I can't do an Elmo voice. That would be a horrifying. Can you imagine that as a horror
Totally
game?
should add Elmo into FNAF.
Oh, jeez.
I'm
Or
trying to
something
think
that's
of-
like that just has the.
Elmo's in your vents.
Turn on the light.
Welcome to Elmo's world. That reminded me of that meme. I can't remember if it was like just like a fan comic or something. It was like Bert entered Elmo's world. He's like, "Hey Elmo, how do I get out of Elmo's world?" Elmo doesn't know.
Oh, anyways, like after I watched the first movie, like I was excited. I grew up with Five Nights at Freddy's. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily what Five Nights at Freddy's target audience is now.
No.
I was part of the original target audience, but it was kind of like the generation after us that kind of like really latched onto it, where they
Yeah.
started making like the toys
And the books.
yeah, and then like the weird cosplays and like stuff like that.
I don't even know how to like fully describe the differences between our generation's
our
enjoyment of FNAF versus theirs. Cause honestly,
I would say
the
like
same-
cult following.
like the same things kind of added to that like love of the series, but like
Mhm.
at different points. Like
Yeah.
I would think that the generation that loves it now, like they grew up on not like we grew up on the lore.
Yeah, and I think we grew up watching each game come out individually and like playing a game or watching a game and then having to wait and be like, "Oh, well, what's next?" Right? Cuz
Mhm.
Scott Cawthon did that as he made the games where he would drop like a subtle like the end, you know,
Uh-huh.
and then you would have to wait like 2 years for the next one to come out. Versus now like all the games are out.
Except for in like 2015 when number 2 and 3 came out, or like 3 and 4
Yeah,
came out in
3
the
and
same
4.
year.
Yeah.
Enough waiting.
But we like along with that, like I remember going to Scott Cawthon's website and checking it every day to see
Uh-huh.
what new cryptic message he put in there.
Yeah.
Like that was, I would say it was kind of like we were yeah, it's tough. I was gonna say we're like in the movie, like all the people who were like Faz Fest versus the people who are like, no, like murder, bad.
what came into my mind is that we grew up on the games and like the reactions to the games and the lore of the games, and the kids now grew up with the fan animations and fan dubs and the
like,
funny
the
the
music.
funny part
Yeah.
of Five Nights at
Yeah,
Freddy's.
they got like the action figures, the music, the
like
edits.
we grew up on the
Like,
original Star Wars, and they grew up on the prequels.
Yeah,
They got the like, you know,
the fun, witty stuff, and
yes, the more exciting, and
Yeah.
ours was the more mysterious.
yeah.
But all in
they
all,
grew up once it already had
FNAF
found
is FNAF.
once it's like found its footing, and we were there as it was like walking and trying to find its way. You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The
Anyways,
philosophy of
yeah.
video essay
Well,
from
no,
Frame
it's-
Rate Podcast
it's-
coming soon.
It's true though, because that's one of the things, like, not that I'm very old, as everyone who knows me knows, right? But
this
like
guy's young.
between like me, even like me and Daniel sometimes,
My little brother.
I feel ancient. But then no, like all respect, sometimes when I talk with Colin about stuff,
My other little brother, who's younger than Daniel.
like I feel ancient.
Close parenthesis.
I feel like I feel like I should be in a home with a walker. Sometimes Colin says
Trevor, can you change my diaper?
Sometimes Colin says stuff, and I'm like, what are the kids nowadays saying?
6, 7. What?
So, like, it's fun. It's interesting because I remember feeling that getting into the movie.
Another segue.
When me and Trevor walked into the movie theater, I mean this out of all respect and no disrespect to anyone who may be watching, who may be part of this community, but like I walked into the theater and I sat down, and even like watching the people walk into the theater before we actually went in, I remember like turning to Trevor and being like, Trevor, we might be like the only normal people to walk in. Like we have a full-time job. I have a kid. We're like a couple years away from having our own mortgage. Like we're just average Joe Schmoes walking in here. And there's some people walking in this movie who were like followers of this movement.
Yeah, it felt like we were going in to watch a horror film, and they were walking in to watch the next FNAF lore video in a theater screen.
Yeah.
And so like they weren't going into it like we were,
Yeah.
knowing that we were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which we should probably start doing.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's kind of like important background for why we're making an episode on this movie. Because in the bigger picture, it's not that important and it's not that like influential of a movie. But in like this sphere that we're in, like, FNAF is, as weird as it is to say, FNAF is probably one of like the focal points of like media.
Yeah.
In one form or like a lot of things is all roads lead to FNAF. Like,
yeah, I would think that it's probably one of the most popular and certainly one of the most influential indie games of all time,
if not the most influential.
Yeah. So like
it's had an effect.
Yeah. Like a lot of credit.
I mean, it's the first indie game that's ever had a movie made of it.
Which at the same time means that it is also like all eyes on the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, including, critics' eyes and Hollywood's eyes.
Yeah.
Not just the fans' eyes.
Yeah.
Which is why if you were to look on Rotten Tomatoes right now, how different critics and fans' eyes perceive the film.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I think we should, rather than like what we did with Harry Potter, where we're like, what we like, what we not like, what should improve, we should be like, what went right and what went wrong.
Okay.
Because there's certainly difference.
Yeah.
Both of those things can be defined.
Sure.
So what went right for you?
I would probably say, I don't know why it's become a common trope nowadays with anything that is kind of like for any kind of movie or like TV show. What is that? Like physical media representation?
Like for like an adaptation?
Yeah, adaptations. Like, I don't know why it's become a common trope, but there has to be like continuous like ties to whatever it's trying to adapt. But that's become like a very common theme in like every adaptation now. Like for good reason, right? Because if you deviate too far off of like your source material, you lose the audience that you were trying to bring in. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I think what went well for the movie is that the first movie, there was a lot of complaints that it was really just like it was a FNAF movie in name only, and a lot of like what brought people to the first FNAF game was missing from this one, like from the movie. Like elements that people fell in love with were gone, and the story was different, and it just had the animatronics. So I think that this one they definitely amped up the fan service, right? I think that is what definitely helped this movie like smash its like projections
Yeah,
and
yeah.
budget and
Yeah.
stuff like
I,
it did it really well.
Yeah, I'd agree because most of like the references to itself were not very in your face like some others could be. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's shoving the lore down your throat because obviously, you know, these movies obviously are going to be under the scrutiny of being different from the games lore wise.
Right.
Some characters have names of characters that they shouldn't have. And like
And for
some like character, like where they lie on their moral compass is different in the movies as opposed to they are in the games. The names of people are different.
You have to snag your audience in 90 minutes versus 13 games and
years and years
little
of
snippets and books and hidden
millions of YouTube videos.
Right.
But,
right.
So like obviously that's a big reason why a lot of people, like even fans, would have a lot of bad things to say about them because it just doesn't feel like FNAF all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, to me, I can kind of subscribe to that idea. Like you should subscribe to us. But like honestly, like if you're able to go into these movies with that kind of like a clean slate, like FNAF and this is gonna be FNAF, but it's not gonna be what you play, then you can have a good time.
Yeah.
But like if you're going into it thinking like oh, that's William Afton in a dream, blah blah blah, it's gonna lead to these other things, like, and then it doesn't. You're like, this movie sucks.
Really,
nothing like
the mindset that I came into this movie was the same mindset that I had going into the Super Mario movie, right? Where it's like, obviously, I'm not gonna get. It would be very inappropriate of me as a moviegoer to expect this lore-rich and like multiple iterations of and like spin-offs and books. Like it'd be inappropriate for me to expect this movie to like exist in these tiny little confines that it has to exist in, right? Part of the reason why I can understand, like, not to bring this into Star Wars, but I can understand like
everything leads to Star Wars.
Why when Disney bought Lucasfilm and the rights to Star Wars, they were like, okay, all of the extended universe is now Legends because we're trying to make money off of this and grow the audience.
We will determine where the story goes.
We have especially Star Wars, they had such a thin line to work with that they were like, if we do anything outside of this tiny little gray area, we're going to ruin it all. So if we just turn this into its own separate entity and just clean slate, we can say, oh yeah, the stuff you like, that's still kind of true, but this is the way that the actual storyline goes so that we have somewhere to operate.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with FNAF, right? The movie makers were like, unfortunately, they didn't do that, right? So they're still trying to operate within that like tiny little area of like, this is separate, but also it's the same story. Some things happen the same way, but we're going to retcon this. Like,
yeah. And kind of to go into my, like, what went wrong. I brought this up to you after we watched the movie, but I think that a detriment to that, like words, that fine line that the people making the movie would need to follow to both impress and please the glass half full and glass half empty people. I don't think that it was a good idea to have Scott Cawthon be the sole writer for the film.
No,
because
I don't think so.
Because clearly, based off of how he writes the lore and story for his games compared to the adaptation of the games in the film medium, like he doesn't get like chemistry between human beings,
No.
the interactions between people. And I'm not out here saying that Scott Cawthon is a loner. He doesn't know what it's like to talk to people, but it kind of felt that way with how some of these characters interacted with each other, especially with Mike, Abby, and Vanessa.
Well, and
any of them interacting with any of the others.
If I can add to that too, like the interactions between people in a video game is far different than like actual human interaction, because you can script, like obviously both are scripted, but you can really script heavy like video game interactions, right? Because you're like, it's only this,
and you can be like, well, like
this is the emotion they're feeling. This is what the animated character's like face is doing. This is the scene.
You get to fully and 100% control how what you're writing is interpreted.
Especially in FNAF, where like up until the later games, there was never really any voice actors except for the phone guy.
Yeah.
Right? It all was just story and interactions all in writing. So you can, like you said, you can control it.
Yeah. So like, I think having another writer, especially maybe like a horror writer on board to help write for this movie in particular, I think that could have really helped and added to, I guess, like the in-between of the film.
I would agree. If not that, like kind of like keeping Scott Cawthon on, like how you said, a second one, but kind of having him be like
a consultation role almost.
Yeah.
Like I think like having him contribute to the writing,
how J.K. Rowling was for the Harry Potter
run
movies.
the scripts by Scott, and he'll have your lore Bible to help you know, like
this is what X, Y, and Z are going to operate. So as long as everything you're doing exists in the confines of X, Y, and Z, good.
Yeah. And I don't want like people listening to this to think that like we're out here saying like Scott Cawthon, you should have been better, and like we could have done much better. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here, nor am I tearing Scott Cawthon down. I'm just saying that he didn't need to do this by himself.
Yeah.
Because like I don't believe he has a lot of experience doing this. I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one who wrote the first one, which maybe based on how that movie was written and the backlash that it got, maybe made the studios want to just have Scott and think that people would think that means that this is going to be better.
Yeah.
But I as someone who just will like look and heavily like scrutinize movies for having like bad dialogue, like most people don't do that. But like to me, I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't form any connections with any of the characters because nothing that they said or did in relation to what they said really like moved me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like sad or bad. Spoiler warning, I guess. I never specified that, but we haven't really talked about the actual content of the film yet. But like when Abby got possessed by the marionette, like I didn't feel like oh no, like my sister, like oh, does that mean she's gonna die?
Yeah, I was
more like oh, wow, they possessed Abby.
Yeah,
Neat.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah, that was something that I felt just could have been done a little better. Like you said. I think also that there was a lot of times going along with that, like they forced feeling. Right.
Yeah, they were trying to like write in like chemistry between Mike and Vanessa, or like, write in like Abby really missing her friends and all of that. But to me, that like it feels very forced.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like cohesive, or like it doesn't like flow. It doesn't feel very like oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like that's their character.
Yeah. You hear that?
We did it.
I think we survived the first night. Yeah. Good job.
Nice.
Hopefully that second night's not that worse. Is not that much worse,
It's never as hard.
No.
I've played the games. I know it goes. Was there anything else that you felt went right that's worth mentioning?
I got to think here. It's hard to put a pin in this when you've only seen it once.
Yeah, I know. That's why, like I always say, like I feel like I need to see a movie at least twice before I can have an established opinion of it.
It's actually one of my favorite things to do.
See a movie twice, or talk about it after only once. I love only seeing a movie once and never again.
One time I got a compliment from my mother-in-law, and she said, "Tristan, I'm really it just shocks me. It really impresses me, like how much information you retain and you have like in your brain. Like you just know a lot about everything." And I went, "Thank you." That's like sometimes I like doing this thing where I see something once and I know I'm going to see it once. Like
you've got the freaking telltale Tristan will remember that. Whenever you watch a movie.
I'm sitting there in the theater like Tristan disliked that. No, I like doing this stuff because it kind of like helps me exercise that muscle of like, all right, like I really enjoy like taking things in. It helps me when I watch movies like that too. Like I really get absorbed into the story because I know I'm probably only going to see this once. One, because I don't usually like watching a movie over again. And two, I don't have the money to go to a theater the next week, right? So I like to like force feed myself the movie. Like we got to retain this so that when I talk about it, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When it comes to things, side tangent over, when it comes to things that I think also went well for the movie, the obvious one, and that's like props.
Yeah.
Like props and set design. Holy crap.
Like obviously there's a lot of reused sets other than like, Mike got a new house and stuff. But
the pizzerias were different though. They were did you know that they were like full blown, like built buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not know that. I saw a TikTok the other day of this guy who was like, I went and picked up scraps from the torn down buildings. And I was like, well, they actually built out like a pizzeria.
Yeah. Which is like, given that this movie had like, I think like a $50 million budget, which is like a $30 million boost to the first one. And that's pretty obvious given like some of the set pieces, they built a whole like miniature lazy river.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of that stuff.
Compared to the first one is just like a generic arcade.
Yeah. It's just like flat carpeted stage and then like concrete hallways. Right?
Yeah.
But, which, by the way, why do people keep falling in that dang river?
I don't know.
Why did the first guy not get out of it ever?
He's like, dang.
My flashlight got wet. Let me keep splashing around in the water.
I'm just gonna keep I'm gonna walk down the river.
Like he falls in the first time, and then literally there's a whole like I think like 5 whole minutes of other things happening, and then it cuts back to him.
Oh my gosh.
He just what's there?
He just shits there.
Which probably.
He definitely did. But yes, prop design. I will get into like my plot holes. I do want to get to that because there's a lot of stuff in this movie.
Yeah. We'll move quickly, I guess.
But like props and set design, knowing that for this movie, they built out like actual full functioning animatronics and then had people walking in the suits. And that really none of it was CGI. Really cool. I mean, the only CGI shots I think that I could like visually see and pick out were all of the possessed puppets, obviously. Like when the puppet would possess somebody.
Yeah.
But everything else like was practical.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a VFX breakdown of this movie just to really know how much of it really was.
Yeah, like what I was watching.
I'm sure that there's like you know, the like blue screen stands that they have like in the background of something so they can paint in, like extend a background or something. But like, you got to wonder, a lot of it just, like I think I mentioned to you, it kind of felt like a fan film, which part of that is because it feels like super grounded. It feels very like real.
Yeah. Well, and I know that was a big complaint from the first movie, is that people were like, there's no security room. What we're seeing like in the pizzeria doesn't really match up with how the pizzeria is in the first game.
Yeah.
So obviously they didn't make the second pizzeria also identical, but they did take a lot more of like the visual elements and put it in there so that when you saw them, you were like, this feels a lot more familiar. This feels a lot more familiar to me than like the first one did.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I know that was something that they really were trying to hammer on this one.
Yeah, I have to say kind of like a little bit in tandem to it, because it, you know, having props is always useful for this. But I think the camera work is really well done. Like cinematography, like, you know, when people think of like really good cinematography, they're thinking of like Lord of the Rings and like swooping wide shots and like really unique like shots like through objects, like, you know, stuff that makes every shot looks like it's a painting. But like really good cinematography also includes like the movement of the camera, not just the placement of it.
Yeah.
And so like the way that these movies are able to have like pretty good, decently long one takes and like insert giant bodysuit just partway through it is really impressive. Yeah. And obviously, you know, eventually it gets to a point where like it gets kind of obvious when something's gonna happen. Like when they were in that one house when Toy Freddy showed up and they had like the shot of like the wife walking across and then just like Freddy appeared. Like you can tell, like when you have the side profile shot of her walking, you're like, something's gonna be there. Like we're moving towards something, and that something is going to be an animatronic. Yeah. We already have the context that it's at that house. Like we know it's going to be there. And then there it is. But at the same time, it's still like, like that thing's real. They moved that in there.
Well, and I think to also highlight what you're saying, one of those, like along that, the scene that really impressed me was Vanessa's car scene with Mangle. I was thoroughly impressed by that. Because it didn't feel like it was like, oftentimes when you run into these like action filled scenes, the movies will tend to fall into like one of two categories. And that's like action scenes like Mission Impossible or Taken, right? Where it's big enough panned out that you just watch the action happen. And it will occasionally flip to a different angle. But because the shots are so wide, there's not a need to like show a lot because you're just watching it. Versus Taken, where we've talked about before, the one chase scene, there's like 27 different like jump cuts. They're like, as he's climbing over the fence, like, right? Yeah. That was one thing that really impressed me with this, like this whole car scene with Mangle trying to break into Vanessa's car, is it didn't seem like, it seemed very fluid to me personally watching it. It seemed like there wasn't a lot of cuts in there. And I was like, yeah, I'm able to actually to really follow what's going on. And it seemed a lot less of the, he's right behind me, isn't he? Than the other scenes with the animatronics in them. That was one of the only scenes with an animatronic where I was genuinely like, all right, when's it going to pop out? Where'd it go? How is it going to pop out next? What's happening? You know, versus the other ones, you're like, oh, he's going to be standing in the hallway, or, oh, they're going to be standing above Mike at the computer or in the vent, right? Like, yeah, that was the only one that wasn't predictable. So I liked that.
And obviously, like the most predictable one is certainly, and like it's on purpose, is Mike in his security office. Yeah. Because it's that whole sequence is just reference to the actual game. Every
The way that Freddy leans
withered,
in.
they're the withered animatronics. Yeah, all of them, they're all doing the poses.
Versus Chica doing her T-pose.
They're all doing the actual thing that they do in the game.
Bonnie, yeah.
Shadow Bonnie being there, disappearing when you shine the flashlight on him.
Yeah.
Withered Bonnie being in the vent, which I've seen a lot of people been like, it's my favorite animatronic. I gave him 2 seconds of screen time. Like,
because it's the most terrifying.
There's like 80 animatronics that they're going to have to end up showing, okay? Like,
yeah.
Wait till they get to the nightmare ones, all right? May they never do that.
That's true. That would be horrifying. That one they might actually have to make like R for horror.
Yeah. And they might have to, like, and if they were to do those practically, they might just have to do the heads.
Yeah.
I don't know how, because like the way that those bodies contort isn't really like a body. Yeah. Anyway.
What I think went wrong, to keep it like quick, because I just went on a huge tangent, would probably say like, along with the script, like sometimes honestly the acting, right? I'm not going to sit here in my chair and preach like I know what's best, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm just a 25-year-old who enjoys movies, right? But I've seen enough to know enough.
You can tell when one thing is quality over another.
Some of the examples, like we talked about coming out of the theater, is that, and this is again in all respect to the actors, I would not be a good actor. I'm not. I can't even lie to my wife. My wife sees right there. So I'm not good. Abby, right? I remember you telling me it's crazy that when she was her better scenes was when she was possessed versus when she was just supposed to be a normal kid.
Yeah. I don't know how old the actress is. She very well could actually be around like 11.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kids grow up fast these days. But like again, like I couldn't really feel any chemistry. Mm-mm. Like it didn't feel like a brother-sister relationship to me.
I remember being annoyed anytime she'd be like, I miss my friends. I'm like, ugh.
Like
stop saying friends or switch up the way that you're saying friends.
Yeah. Like
make me feel like you miss
actual 11-year-olds are like complaining way louder. And I get like she, I don't know what her life would actually be like living with just her older brother who's like way older than her and whatever. And he has to be her dad. But like, I would think that there'd be like a stronger familial connection between the two of them, especially because no, they don't really, like they barely touch on the fact that like what happened in the first one was literally traumatic.
Yeah.
Like that imagery for all of them involved would be straight trauma. The only one, like Vanessa actually suffers through the trauma and Mike is just being a pain, is like, get over it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to move forward here. And I hated that.
Yeah. And I didn't enjoy, but again, there was no connection, right? I didn't feel like Abby missed her friends.
Yeah.
I felt like Abby could give 2 shits on whether or not her friends ever showed up.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would have,
And same with Mike. Like anytime Abby went off and did anything, like you genuinely, if that's my sister, I'm like, I'm moving hell and high water to find my sister, especially after what we've been through. I'm doing anything.
Yeah. And like you
running my car through trash cans, trying to find my sister. Right. Like, but Mike is like, oh no.
He calls the school. He's like, where's Abby? He's like, oh, she's not here. You'd think, knowing where she had been and what she had been doing, he would have been a lot more frantic and like would have hung the phone up even faster and then would have left that guy's house even faster.
No, it felt like he had like 7 business. I remember turning to you and saying that. I remember turning to you and being like, he had 7 business days to hang that phone up.
Yeah. He like calls Vanessa. He's like, I don't know where Abby is. Like
audible pause.
Like where's the urgency? Your 11-year-old sister is hanging with murderous animatronics that murder. with murder. All right? Like they want to know
Capital
what's
R.
going on inside her head. Megan Fox wants to know what's going on inside her head.
Or him being like, hey, kind of was like a Mike. Also, no offense to Josh Hutcherson, because I talked about coming out of the theater. I felt like his performance was him and Matthew Lillard's performance were the only ones that I was like, wow, this is good acting. Everyone else was dry, but even like his character, sometimes I was like how you said, let's move on. We need to fix things. No,
Like, hello, you still live in the same town. I would not get a new house like a mile away from where someone tried to murder me. Let alone learning that like it's like a 20-minute bike ride to the first one that has even more possessive, murderous animatronics.
He knows that Vanessa's dad is William Afton, and then all of a sudden he finds out that William Afton killed another person, and he's like, I can't trust you.
You didn't tell me you had a murderous brother that would try to murder me.
I
didn't tell you I had a murderous dad either.
Don't come to my house. We're done. Like, I hated that ending. That ending alone to me was like,
what drives someone to just stand in the doorway of someone who just rejected them and just stare?
All of it sucked. The only good redeeming part was when Vanessa's like, I'm not going home with you. I am home. I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I like that. And then
they're huddled together like, oh yeah, that's a group. That's a family right there. And then
like 5 seconds.
Stay away from us.
5 seconds later, I can't trust you. What the What do you mean you can't trust her? You trusted her for the last 2 acts of the movie. Yeah.
You realize now that
you sent her away in her car to find your sister while you sat on a computer. What do you mean you don't trust her? Because this guy shows up and he's like, I'm your brother and I like murder.
Like I can somewhat understand because like the whole, like after all we had been through, why didn't you tell me that you had a brother who also liked to murder with these animatronics and that he was so close by? But like at the same time, she just told him, no, I am home with them, not with you. Like, like I would be like, sit down, like tell me everything before I do lose my trust.
They were trying hard to land this plane, right? Like this plane was headed for the runway, and then everything was set up. They were lined up almost on the ground, and then all of a sudden it just crashed. Like the plane never landed, right?
Yeah.
Everything that they built up to was ruined with like the last 2 minutes of the movie, right?
Yeah, and like I had said to you in the theater, he walks into the first Five Nights at Freddy's establishment, and he's just yelling to the spirits of these kids. He's like, "I need your help," and then lo and behold, it's like, "Hey, Mike, on your left."
Oh, I hated that too.
You think at first that it's going to be like, oh, the ultimate showdown, the toy animatronics versus the, I guess, OG animatronics. You're like, how is this going to go down? And then it's just
Freddy Fazbear.
just like, pop head comes off.
Foxy,
Hook, destroy,
Foxy
stomp.
stomping on the face.
You're like, oh, the toys didn't fight back at all. They like, neato. Why didn't the marionette try to strike during all of that?
Okay, and this brings me
Charlotte, what are you doing?
To a little segment that I call plot holes. Cue the little fairy music. Plot holes. So much of this movie where I went, first one, right? We talked about the guy falling in the water, right?
Get up.
Get
You're telling me you never got out of a pool when you were little?
what? The water level's here.
And it's up here to get up?
All you have to do is
Mount. Mantle.
oh my gosh. And then
LeBron James celebration out of that water, man.
Mike did it later in the movie, and you're like,
Oh, he got up.
what the hell's on this floor? Oil?
Water? Where's the caution wet floor signs?
Yeah. Oh, and then it took him 7 to 6 business days to get out of it too. They're like, come on, get up. And he's
Thankfully,
like,
Balloon Boy was nice enough to let his buzzsaw of a propeller on his head poke out of the water, 15 feet down. They're like, oh, warning. Get out.
yeah. Well, and
The shark fin.
my biggest like weirdest plot hole that I had was Mike showing up at the very like final act with like this music box that he's holding like it's a Glock 19.
Blick.
He's like,
You got a blick?
I'm not afraid to use this.
No.
Right?
No. It felt like a Wicked Witch of the West kind of thing.
It did. That entire thing was so cringy. But
Again, I
and
guess
then
it is
immediately after the
kid.
the entire movie, like Vanessa's like, I had a music box down here and it kept her trapped,
Someone broke
but
it.
someone broke it and now she's gone. And her dad's like, play this for her because it soothes her and puts her to sleep. And Mike's like, all right, be gone, foul creature.
His crucifix.
All right,
The music box.
snap shut. It's gone. No longer, like, you don't think that Vanessa could have been like, hey, you should probably keep that open.
The power of music compels you.
That should be open,
Wind it. Keep winding.
Just let it
You ever
play.
play the game? You have to wind the music box.
Anyways, that's my plot holes. Now we're to the next segment, wasted potential. Why cast McKenna Grace for this movie?
I hope she was like the third highest paid actress in the film.
Oh my gosh, why hire her for this movie if she's going to have 2 seconds of screen time?
I have a feeling that
Granted, that entire sequence was arguably the best part of the entire movie.
yeah.
That kept me more on the edge of my seat than the entire movie did.
Yeah, it was a really good sequence of
It was amazing.
the ghost show, I guess. But like
And like
it really-
watching Mangle pick up the guy and then you see all the limbs fall down. I remember turning to you and being like, whoa. Oh, this was not in the game. We
No.
never actually saw the murder outside of 8-bit.
Chomp.
Right? Like
Was that the slice of 80? Yeah.
that alone made me that, and going along with that, any scene with the puppet outside of the first like 10 minutes of the movie, I
Yeah.
was so excited. Not that like the puppet is one of the coolest characters in FNAF, right? Because it's so creepy.
Yeah.
You have to wind up a music box, right? And the entire time that you're playing this game, you have to like flash your lights to keep all the animatronics away. You have to check cameras to make sure that you find this. And on top of that, you also have to manually click on a certain camera and then click and hold to wind up a music box. And if the music box runs out, then the puppet gets out of the box and it's a guaranteed death. You will not win. You lose, right? It's a cool character.
Yeah, and they slightly changed its design for this to make it appear a little more creepy and more sad
Mm-hmm.
in the movie, which I think was a really good decision.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely added to it. And honestly, like, it's way bigger than I had always thought it was.
And it had a total of like 3 shots. And I was so irritated with it.
Yeah. Like I appreciated it's like the jump scare reference for it when it possessed Abby, like coming out of Chica's chest. Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, oh yeah. Hey.
And it makes the same, like, I'm pretty sure
Yes!
it's the same
Oh,
sound.
did it.
Yeah. There you go.
I found my reference.
I'm pretty sure it's the same sound too that it makes when it kills you in the game.
Yeah.
But that was I don't know. They their efforts to make it practical, they made it too practical, and they were like, "Oh, it actually just kind of slithers because it's a puppet, right?"
Yeah.
Like
It's on strings.
that was one thing that really bothered me. That was probably my biggest beef with the movie, was like the whole wasted of, because they hinted at it at the end of the first movie, and then they showed it and introduced this cool backstory for it at the very beginning of the movie, and then it just kind of possessed people and turned them into like these weird green-eyed, like human puppet hybrids.
Sausage fingers.
With the fingers of like the guy that played the Grinch at our holiday party. Like,
Yeah.
I was not a fan of that. That's my tangent. That's my rant.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like we've gone really in depth. We've talked a lot deeper than I thought we were.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't have much more to say that wouldn't just be like petty, like tiny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like little details, but
Yeah.
for the most part, that's the FNAF movie.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're a fan of FNAF, go see it. If you're not, you won't like it.
it's not. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you kind of have to know.
Even if you're a fan of horror films, if you're not a fan of FNAF, you won't like this.
just go watch A Quiet Place.
That's the only horror movie he likes. He'll bring it up every time.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was a good movie. Like,
Yes and no.
rewatchability score, I think I gave it initially like a 6. I think I'd probably still give it a 6. Yeah, and I'd probably give it a 6 on the 110 too. Like it was better than average for me. It was better than average.
Yeah.
And again, if I was deaf, this would have been a great movie. Okay, not hearing any of the dialogue, it would have looked great on the screen. Was it the greatest horror movie, or by in that standards, was it the greatest like video game adaptation I've ever seen? No way.
Yeah.
Between Uncharted and Mario, this was a great.
Any of the Sonics.
Yeah, like this was more of just a fan service movie. Like it was a fan film backed by like a Hollywood studio.
Yeah. I don't know if they have the third one in production yet.
I know that they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to make it, or else they'll get eaten alive.
I guess. I guess there is one more thing. The mid credit scene with,
Fazbear Frights.
Sans Undertale reference, glowing eyeball,
Yeah,
and like his first breath. Right,
yeah.
you barely hear that. Like it's those kinds of
It's
shots
the
that
setting
are
up.
like,
It's the setting up for the third game.
yeah, it's
which
like
is exciting.
It's those kind of shots that you're like, dang, that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if,
There was
if
some-
that kind of energy could be throughout the entire film, it would be awesome.
Yeah, there was some moments, or like Vanessa's flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Thought for sure that we were gonna get
Her
some
dream
form of
sequence is
like
good.
nightmare animatronics, or like just in the interaction with William Afton.
Yeah, for as little screen time as Matthew Lillard has, he does a really good job.
He killed it. He killed it.
Screw you, Quentin Tarantino.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just because you haven't seen Paul Dano or Matthew Lillard's feet doesn't mean they're not good actors.
But it was an okay movie. Like if you've played the games, you know what the games are. Like, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you're Trevor and you like to be cynical about the movies you watch, you won't enjoy it. Or I guess real.
I'm not real.
We've got a good duality of the Rotten Tomatoes website here. We've got the audience score, and then we've got the critic score. Trevor is definitely a lot more in tune with his movie side like critic side, and I'm more of just like flashing lights, pretty.
Explosion.
We're gonna need all we can if we're gonna survive 5 nights at Freddy's. Oh, I said the line.
To this day, I don't know how there hasn't been a sponsorship deal with the restaurant, Freddy's. I don't know how they haven't.
Yeah.
Why there hasn't been anything at all.
It's an obvious choice, really.
Yeah, like, I want a Fazbear concrete, like, like please, or like.
Some Foxy fries. Come on.
Yeah, come on. We're handing it to you. We're tossing it up.
The Bonnie Burger. Man, I'm on one.
The Chica sauce.
The Chica Nuggets.